Nós somos o host.
Vais usar a apresentação nova.
Já tinha só isso sempre. Always.
Ok. E depois a seguir dás-me a dica. Agora não sei quando, não sei o que
Sim,
mais.
o que eu recomendo é que já tenhas aberto a apresentação do fundo. Quando sair a tua parte, tomas o controlo e vais
Mas
mexendo.
eu vou fazer um computador.
Ah, no meu
Mais
computador? Tudo
fácil.
bem, tudo bem,
Se
tudo
o teu
bem.
microfone é bom, vai ter que ser funcional, mas.
O quê?
Agora vou.
Acho que
Então,
não há
mas o que
problema.
fazes é, quando quiseres passar, tiras o vídeo, passas no computador assim, para deixar.
Sim. Ai, eu acho que.
Tiras o vídeo,
Ok,
não
vamos
é.
ver. Vamos ver. Mas ainda não temos attendees. Mas eu afeitei na segunda-feira, porra. Isto não é do que segunda rápido.
Valor.
Eu também penso que o calor, não é? O calor faz que tudo seja mais, pá.
Eu acho que as minhas funcionam mais rápido por causa do valor.
Eu acho que já, também pensando isso. Hello, hello. Test. This is a test. Are people hearing us? Hello. Hello, everyone. I don't know if we're still waiting for other people to join us, but I see we have already 12, 13 attendees. So welcome, everyone. Just gonna wait for Hannah to let me know when we can officially start or if we are waiting for other people to join us. So we're gonna be waiting up to 5 more minutes for other people to join in. I'm seeing all these names and I'm seeing a lot of American people. Good morning to everyone, by the way, if these are all Americans. Good morning. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I say good morning because I believe we are on American time. Thank you so much for being here today. So my name is Roger. I represent the sales department of Spark Capital. Here next to me, it's my colleague, Joan Diaz. He will be aiding me on the part of the investment fund that we'll be discussing at the end. So please enjoy this time. As you perhaps know, we have an agenda that I'm going to try to follow as much as I can, okay? So, okay, so the first thing I would like to say is like, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Roger. I am from Paraguay, South America, and I like to mention this because I like to put myself in a position of a foreigner who lives in Portugal, which I think it will be of high interest for you too as well, because I believe you are all interested in knowing more about the Golden Visa program in Portugal, right? So the first topic we will have in our agenda, for us is very important you understand who are we, right? So as you can see on the presentation I'm sharing, we're Spark Capital, okay? You will see over the presentation that we're many things, but right off the bottom, I want to tell you three things. In essence, Spark Capital is three things. Real estate, so we buy and sell real estate as our main source of business, okay? Second, we're a construction company. We're a construction company in the sense that all the properties that we have, either the ones that we rehabilitate or the ones we develop overall, usually are for rehabilitation, okay? We have different kinds of projects where we do some dusting off, where we do big construction projects, but overall, the important thing that you know is that we own the logistical process, all the architects and engineers work for us, and of course, we have logistical and fiscal advantages. And lastly, and highly important, in essence, Spark Capital is a rental management company, okay? What does this mean? That all the properties that we have, either the ones that we sell to our clients or the ones that we keep for ourselves, we want to rent them out, okay? So every project that we launch, ever since the beginning, what we have there, it's, so we say, oh, this project, it's near university campus, boom, we're going to turn into a student residence. This project is near to the beach, boom, we're going to turn it into a touristic project. Oh, this project is in a secluded area, boom, we're going to turn it into a retirement home. So on and so on. We always have this in mind. Why? Because the idea is that the investors of our projects understand that the projects have to be profitable for them and for us. And because Spark Capital is these three things, we're able to offer what we call a real estate investment, okay? Real estate investment package, because what we offer is the property, the construction, and the rental management, which is the product we offer, right? So coming back a little to us in our introduction, right? You will see over the presentation that what we want to highlight a lot, it's the fact that we're a company with a very big track record. So as you see in this presentation, we're a company with over 7 years of experience. It's very important that you understand that Spark Capital, our fortress, is Lisbon. It is in Lisbon where we have all our biggest projects, our most numerous projects, where we have most of our properties rented. Lisbon is where you will see we truly are in the past and right now. However, as you will see more or less into our vision, it's important that you understand that our vision focuses on the potential of Portugal. Originally, it was Lisbon, right? Because as I was saying, we were mostly focused in Lisbon, in upcoming areas. So we have been investing in Lisbon ever since 2016. And we were saying, okay, this area, there's a lot of potential for development in this area. It's very associated with a very popular term in the United States called gentrification. So either for the worst or for the best, this term is highly important in Lisbon. So we focused this a lot in Lisbon for many years, but now happily we have expanded our vision all over Portugal, okay? And we say all over Portugal because I don't know how long have you been studying this possibility or how long you have been looking at Portugal, but in my experience, one thing I want everyone to know is that not so long ago, specifically before 2016, no one knew about Lisbon, no one knew about Portugal. People will think it's in Brazil or something. After 2016 is where we decided to, where we got a lot of international attention. So if you perhaps have been looking at Portugal and the Golden Visa for the last couple of years, you perhaps know that we are in a very big hype right now. So going more into detail about who are we, right? As I was saying, in essence, we are real estate, construction, and rental management. It is many more things, right? Because within our real estate aspect, we have a very important property acquisition and research team, right? So of course, we have our own benchmarking studies. We analyze our projects based on many different elements. We try to replicate our successful experiences as well. When we go a little on our track record, you will see that we have many projects in the same area. Of course, construction is a very important part of us. I don't know so much about construction in the United States. I do know about construction in Latin America. And because of the experience of many clients I had, I can also tell that construction is not the same in every country, okay? I remember I had many Chinese clients who asked me if the property will come with a floor. And I guess that's a okay question to ask if you're in China. However, when we're talking in Portugal, we're specifically talking about the European Union, okay? And happily, the European Union has very important standards that, of course, we have to follow, right? So this is one of the key aspects about our standards, that we are in full compliance with the European Union standards. And of course, we have a very important framework, and we want to create the maximum efficiency and proficiency for our projects. Within our rental management, we have the fact that we have a lot of assets to manage. Our rental management department is quite big. As I was saying, mostly operating in Lisbon as of now, because right now we're in the phase where we're launching our projects outside of Lisbon. Besides the three core elements of Spark Capital, we also provide fiscal and legal advisory. And this is very important to understand because as you can imagine, we have our own lawyers for our own property acquisitions. Many clients do have some questions regarding their property acquisition or taxes. Additionally, we're happy to also provide tax advice services and tax representation if you want it, right? Because the core service that Spark Capital offers is rental management properties, real estate investment packages. So that was a little of our introduction, because I was saying we're a company with a lot of things. And one important thing that I will be explaining right now, it's a little of our track record, okay? Because as you will see right now in this part, most of the things I'm going to show you here are in Lisbon, okay? So it's very important that our foundation and our track record, it's all about Lisbon. So in all the projects that you will see, it's very important that you understand different aspects of the projects, right? So we have completed projects, constructed projects and development, and projects that we are to acquire soon, right? So this is the very first example, right? Maria Pia 1, okay? Maria Pia is a street within the city center of Lisbon, okay? For those who know or do not know Lisbon, one of the most emblematic and important areas is the Marquês de Pombal roundabout. The Marquês of the Pombal roundabout, it's the nexus of the city. This street is right next to it, and it's a very large street that connects the city center with the suburbs. This is where we had Maria Pia 1. So as you can see in these images, especially the one here in the middle I'm pointing out, Maria Pia 1 used to be a cute little shoebox that, of course, we took and rehabilitated, right? So this is an example, right, of a property that we have fully rehabilitated, we have decorated and furnished, and it's a project that is full of tenants that we're renting out for our clients, but also for our own profit, right? Highly important to mention, I mean, we started right off with Maria Pia 1 because Maria Pia, ladies and gentlemen, is a street where we have 4 projects. So Maria Pia 1 is the first one I show. Maria Pia 2 is the exact same scenario. So it's a project in the Maria Pia street, actually right next to Maria Pia 1. It used to be just this wall. And as you can see in this image, not only we have rehabilitated and rebuilt the entire property, but it is also an example of a property where we have done property expansion. So the entire half of the building is anew, and also the top. This is very important because as a company that does rehabilitation, in many projects, you always have to consider what are we talking about, right? Are we talking about just dusting off the property? Are we talking about tearing down the whole building and make it anew? Or are we talking about rebuilding the entire structure? This depends, of course, on each project. This is another example that we're quite proud to talk about. It's Conde Barão. This is in the downtown city center of Lisbon. This is in the nearby the Cais de Sodré area, which is highly popular. We're very proud about this project because if you perhaps sometime happen to pass by this street, you will see that it's one of the most vibrant streets in Lisbon. Our project, we're happy to say that it was one of the very first ones that got rehabilitated in the area, because if you will go there in 2019-18, you will have seen this, right? So when we got the project of Conde Barão, it was just two walls and totally hollow on the inside, right? Right now is easily one of the most upscale properties we have in Lisbon. The decoration, you can see it as well, so you can have an idea of our furniture, our decoration style, and of course, a little of what is the kind of projects we have in Lisbon. As I was saying before, in essence, Spark Capital is a real estate company, right? So besides apartments, we also have houses and penthouses. We have these amazing houses outside of Lisbon that are projects that we have completed, right? As I was saying, we have a different kind of investment here, right? Because here we're talking a house with 4 bedrooms that is oriented for families, right? In all cases, ladies and gentlemen, we're always talking about an investment, right? But this is an example of a property that can serve both as an investment and as a life choice option, right? Because this is a house with pool, 4 bedrooms in an upscale neighborhood that is right next to one of the most prestigious schools of Lisbon. I think it's St. Peter's, right? St. Peter's. Another example, Alcantara 2. In the area of Alcantara, which is also quite renewed in Lisbon, we have 3 projects. We put here Alcantara 2 because it's one of the projects we have also recently finished. Again, very high quality rehabilitation, finished project, renting out already. Alcantara 3, right? It's another example. This project is in construction right now. We hope to finish it still this year. Maria Pia 3, as I was saying, very funny that Maria Pia 1, 2, 3, they're right next to each other. So this building I'm touching right now, it's Maria Pia 2. This is the interior decoration of Maria Pia 3. Okay, so here we have Santa Barbara. This is a project I really like because when I got into the company 3 years ago, we just launched this project. So this is our biggest project in Lisbon, okay? So what we have here is a big project with over 36 apartments and has amenities like a garden, elevator, parking. This is a project we have mostly sold out during 2021, okay? And we like to talk a lot about this project because it's the biggest project we have in Lisbon, but also serves excellent prospects for investment because it's within the largest avenue of Lisbon. It's in a very vibrant neighborhood that really embodies this concept of gentrification that is very popular in the United States. And as well, it really embodies our spirit of rehabilitation because in this case, we're doing rehabilitation of the facade, but highly important, we are doing a very big expansion. This part where you have the garden and the parking is being built anew, okay? So here in this part of the track record, we also talk about Alcácer do Sal 1. This was our first 280K investment. For us, it's highly important that you understand that Spark Capital is very proud to say that we are pioneers in these kinds of investment, okay? Because it has been since 2021, when they have announced that the Golden Visa law will change and they will take Lisbon and Porto out of the equation, we have been doing 280K investments ever since 2019. So we were already promoting these kinds of investments way back in the time. So for example, right now, these kind of investments will be highly appreciated, but you know what they say, right? Early bird gets a worm. So this is a recurring theme that we see in our investments. We're talking here about Alcácer do Sal 1. It was a typical project, Spark Capital project, right? 10 apartments right in the city center of Alcácer do Sal and right in front of the castle. As I was saying, when it comes to Lisbon, we have multiple projects. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to explain them all, but this is another one, right? Anjos, which is a project right next to Santa Barbara, also in the city center, over 20 apartments. This one has a lovely penthouse, and the vast majority of our projects in Lisbon have been sold out during 2021. The same thing for Cruz da Pedra. It's also an amazing investment that we have in the city center, more in the hilly area. Here, it's a moment where I want to take a very special moment to talk about this project. I'm actually going to go to the presentation of Alcácer do Sal II, the not the original one, but the former one, right? So right now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm showing you is the presentation of Alcácer do Sal II when we were selling it out last year, right? Because happily for us, Alcácer do Sal II has been our best project so far, okay? So here what we're talking about, it was the expansion of Spark Capital outside Lisbon, okay? This was our most successful project outside of Lisbon. So here we were starting to talk about, so Lisbon, even nowadays, is very easy to talk about, right? So it's in the city center, sorry, it's a city in Europe, the only capital in Europe with beach. You have everything that you need. Lisbon is a city where if you speak English, Portuguese, or French, you are done. You don't really need to speak Portuguese. And of course, you enjoy a very high quality of life. What we were trying to mention here is that Portugal has way more to offer than just Lisbon. So what we're trying to say here is, okay, you have other areas outside Lisbon. You have Alcácer do Sal, where you have access to the beautiful beaches of Portugal, because in Portugal, the most famous beaches are the ones in the south. Here we're talking and pitching a lot the beaches in the middle of Portugal, the Comporta coast, okay? And of course, we want to highlight a lot that the true Portuguese lifestyle, it's outside the cities, right? So here's where you can enjoy the traditional food, where you can enjoy typical actual Portuguese activities like snorkeling, surfing, horse riding. It is in these areas where you actually enjoy these activities, right? And of course, talk a lot about Alcácer do Sal and the Alentejo lifestyle, right? Which is one of the biggest regions of Portugal. So here, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Alcácer do Sal II, our biggest project so far. Here we're talking about an upscale condominium with 60 apartments. And as you can see here we're talking a different thing. We're talking about pool, garden, 24/7 security, a parking lot. You have a more secluded area, but still enjoying all the normal commodities of a modern property. It is very important that you understand that Alcácer do Sal II, it's the present and the future of Spark Capital. Because like any company, right, we have been scaling up. First, we have buildings with 10 apartments, then 20 apartments, then 30 apartments. Alcácer do Sal II is our current status quo. And it's very important that you understand that in projects like this, what we want to talk about is capital appreciation. Because in Lisbon and Porto and other important cities of Portugal, of course, you still have good opportunities, but you're never going to see the appreciation factor that you have seen 5 years ago, for example, right? So because it's many reasons, right? So we believe, for example, that you will have capital appreciation in these areas for 2 reasons mostly. First, all the golden visa investors are going there because, well, the government is encouraging investors to go outside the cities. That's one undeniable fact, right? Second, areas like Alcácer do Sal II and projects in the Alentejo, they have a very important local demand, okay? Because even for local Portuguese, there is not so much supply of properties like this, right? So not even Portuguese, because we're in the European Union, right? There's a very big influx of French, Germans, Dutch, who want to enjoy this, right? Because as I was saying, the weather is one of the things that make Portugal great. And people who want this kind of properties, they don't have the supply for this yet. And thirdly, and highly important, we also want our investors to consider this investment not only as a financial investment, but as a life choice investment. I'm going to put you an example. Okay, I'm 28. I honestly don't want to live here because, you know, I like the city, I like the noise, I like stress. I'm an active person. If I will go here, I will spend here a nice weekend, but no more than that. This is a place I wouldn't go there, but this is a place where I would like my parents to retire, for example. Of course, what does this say? That a very important clientele for projects like this are pensioners, digital nomads. I mean, people who actually want to enjoy the Portuguese lifestyle, right? So this was about Alcácer do Sal II. As I was saying, we had 2 3-bedroom apartments sold out. And well, this is about it. I wanted to focus this because, as I was saying, Alcácer do Sal II was our biggest success. this is all over our projects in Lisbon. As I was saying, we have many projects, and unfortunately, we don't have the time. So I'm just going to skip it over because I want to go to the next part, which is our current opportunities. Okay, so I want you to have Alcácer do Sal in mind, Alcácer do Sal 2 in mind, because the big strategy leap we're talking about right now is two things. So properties outside the cities, like Alcácer do Sal 2 was. I'm going to put you an example right now of something we just launched, and it's in the same line of Alcácer do Sal, which is Grândola 2. So Grândola, it's a city right next to Alcácer do Sal, okay? It is a project that also qualifies for the 280K Golden Visa. It follows the same standards, right? So the beauties of living in the interior of Portugal, capital appreciation. It's in the Alentejo area where we have huge capital appreciation prospects. Very important to mention, one of the highest pitch points of Grândola and all the projects we have there is that it has access to the best beaches of Portugal. And we say the best beaches of Portugal, why? Because as I was saying, the most famous beaches in Portugal are the ones in Algarve. But truth be told, right? I mean, those beaches are entirely, I'm going to use a reference from the American culture that maybe I'm not entirely sure, right? So the beaches in Miami, right? And I can imagine they're the best, but I was there once when I was 14, and there were just so many people, too much noise. I didn't have a good time. Usually when I want to go to the beach, I want to enjoy nature, be relaxed. This is something that you still have in this area, okay? And one important thing that you have to know about the Comporta coast is that you cannot build properties there ever since the 60s, okay? So what's happening is that more and more people want to enjoy the coast by being near to it, okay? So cities like Grândola, Alcácer do Sal 2, this is where you have the big appreciation prospects, not only for the people who want to live by the coast, but specifically for the people who work in that area. The restoration area, the hotel businesses, managers, so many people that need to live by that area, but of course also want to enjoy a nice lifestyle, right? So it's very important that you understand that it's a very important local and international demand for this kind of properties, right? Just talking about the Grândola 2 project. So as you can see, it's a very big project, okay? We focus a lot on the green area, on the common areas. Later on, for those who are interested, we can send more details about it, but we have many units here. We're talking about villas, apartments, most of them in the range of 280 to 300, okay? It's very important that I have to confess, this project is super new. I mean, for those who have been with Spark Capital a long while or have been studying this market, they will understand that these kind of investments are one of the most interesting ones, right? Again, we highly focus on, we're in a stage where we focus a lot on the interiors, on the quality of the properties, because this is where we are now, right? And where we want to keep it at. Later on, of course, we will be happy to share more details. I now need to pass to the other kinds of investments that we're proposing. So, as I was saying, two big focuses on Golden Visa investments. Investments outside the cities, Golden Visa, 280K option, okay? The other popular option is commercial properties in the cities. So one of the most important changes that we have seen in the Golden Visa last year is that you cannot invest in Lisbon or Porto if you're investing in residential properties, okay? What does this mean? You can have a Golden Visa by investing in properties in Lisbon or Porto if it's a commercial property. A commercial property would be basically having a license to do any kind of commercial activity, either it be tourism, restoration, business, etc., etc. So we at Spark Capital have one project in the city of Porto. For those who don't know, Porto is, well, an equally popular city in Portugal as Lisbon. Beautiful, very different from Lisbon. Lisbon and Porto are oranges and apples, okay? It's highly different, but nevertheless, highly attractive for tourism, for business, and also for quality of life, right? So one of the important things you have to understand here is that what we have here, it's a big project in the city of Porto. So this is a map of Porto. Here, what I'm circling right now is the city center of Porto. and going up, you have the university campus. Our project, Lima, is right in the middle. We have the Combatentes metro station right next to it, and we have a project that we believe is going to be highly attractive for both people who want to reside in there and for people who want to be near the universities. Why am I mentioning this? Because as a rental management company, of course, we want to have prospects for people who want to rent this out either for us or for our clients, right? We talk a lot about the amazing infrastructure that you have in Porto, because of course it's very important that you know that in Europe, happily, a car is not the best thing to have, right? One of the things I love the most about Europe is that you can either walk everywhere or use public transportation. So going to the specifics of the project. So the Lima project, it's a big project. As you can see here, we invest a lot in the green and common areas. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, are studio apartments in the vast majority. So we also have apartments, right? But what we have here is are mostly studios. You have studios on the ground floor and studios on the upper floor. All of them have external areas, okay? It can either be seen as a little garden or as a terrace. It's a big project where we are looking to promote them as service apartments, okay? This is very important, ladies and gentlemen, because legally speaking, specifically for golden visa purposes, these projects are commercial properties, okay? Nevertheless, we promote them as service apartments. Why? Because as a service apartment, you can use it as an apartment or as a property with many finalities, right? For example, one of the ideas that we have as a rental management company, because one thing I haven't mentioned, which is highly, highly important that you know, Spark Capital, to our investors, we are all about property acquisition. We know this because there's many conversations about alternative investments in the hotel industry, for example. And of course, you are free to do that, but very important that you know, with Spark Capital, you do property acquisition, okay? The property is always yours. There are freehold properties that only if you want to, we engage into a rental management service, usually 3 or 4%, where we pay you the money we make out of your property. What does this mean? That you are free to sell your property whenever you want. You will, of course, enjoy capital appreciation when the time comes, right? And that, you know, you can even live in your property if you want. But in the case of Lima, one of the ideas we have for it is, if we rent it out for you, we plan to turn it into a student residence. Okay? It's just an idea. Because very important, one of the most important aspects of Lima, the project of Lima, is when you buy in this property, you are getting an apartment, right? You are the owner of an apartment, but as well, you are also investing in the common infrastructures. We invest heavily on common areas, lounges, cinemas, gyms, kitchen hubs. It's very important that you understand the big value of the common areas. There's a parking spot, there's a very big green area. So it's very important that when you think about the project of Lima, you think about investing in Porto, okay? You think about the great rental prospects, one of them potentially a student residence, and the common areas you will enjoy. This is just an image of the bedrooms we will have here. It has a bathroom. This is a model of the studio, right? So of the many studios we have over there, here is your door, here is your bathroom, here is your bedroom, here is your living room with your kitchenette, and the terrace, and in the case of the ground floor, a beautiful garden, right? And this is going to be a heavy image, but now I'm going to show you the big floor plan in a more specific way, right? So here you can see on the right, you will see all the studios, right? So all that you have here are studios. Very important, ladies and gentlemen, even though in the Lima project, what we have the most are studios. So you have here the studios. Here would be the dining rooms and the common areas. On the underground, you will have the parkings, and you will have also right in the middle, the gardens. Highly, highly important. In the front of the project, where you have all the studios, this area I'm circling out are apartments, okay? These are 2-bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom apartments, that technically speaking, they are apartments, okay? However, they have a commercial license, therefore, they are investments that are applicable for the golden visa, okay? For us, it's very important that you understand that we're a company highly oriented to the profile of international investor. So of course, we're in compliance with everything that you need to know regarding that, right? So of course, as I was saying, unfortunately, I don't have all the time in the world. But my point here was trying to explain you as much as I could about about Spark Capital, our current projects, and our future, right? So now I'm going to thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass the word to my colleague Joan Diaz, who will be explaining you in more detail a very important part of Spark Capital, which is investment fund options. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm just going to see, John, can you? Yes. So.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Roger, for your help explaining all the details from Spark Group. My name is João. I'm part of the fund manager, Saltish, who is managing this investment fund called Insight. It is very important to explain the basis of this investment fund. So the owners or shareholders of Spark Group are the same founders of this investment fund. And the idea of this creation was to develop different products, different investment fund. And the idea was to create something that could give more comfort and stability to the new investors who would like to invest in this type of products. So since August 2021, on the very first day of this investment fund, the founders of Spark Group, they have injected a part of their group to this investment fund. And after that, we have been onboarding several different new investors to enjoy this type of products. We are going to skip why Portugal. I think everyone knows why Portugal is the best option available. And let's focus on why Insight. So, as Roger has already explained, Spark Group core business is renovation, is real estate, and with that in mind, we will maintain a highly diversification in our portfolio, meaning that we won't invest in one single asset. We will invest in different types of cities, types of products, and of course in other types of real estate. So we won't put the eggs in one single basket. We will diversify the eggs in different baskets to not concentrate the risk. These types of investment funds in Portugal, they are extremely tax efficient. So if a client is not a tax resident in Portugal, you won't pay any tax through the gains that you will receive. Another very important point that I would like to explain is the fact that, again, the way that we have developed this investment fund is different from the usual. In the venture capital life, the words guaranteed return or guaranteed capital, they are forbidden. So the way that, again, to give confidence and stability to our new investors, we have put in place a preferential return. Don't forget that the founders of Spark Group, the same founders of this investment fund, they have injected a big part of their wealth into this product. But at the end of the day, they will be the last ones receiving they are going to be the last one receiving their own return of this investment fund. Why? Because with this preferential return, the new investors, they will be the first ones getting their 3% preferential return. These types of investments in Portugal, they are extremely well regulated. by CMVM, is the sister of SEC in the US. And here we have an image of the track record of Spark Group. Last year, 2021, during the pandemic time, we have reached again a new record in our history of 38 million euros of sales. We have right now more than 40 different projects. Roger talked about some examples, but we have many more in different stages that are being digested by our architects, our lawyers, our engineers, and that we will launch in the next couple of months or years. So here we can have a look into the current situation when we are talking about Spark Group is focused on the real estate and hospitality sector with more than 40 residential properties and commercial properties, of course, and we were most focused on the Greater Lisbon. Right now, as we saw in Roger's presentation, that we have been switching our target to different locations. But if we have a look into the investment fund route, so Spark Group is on the second level, the investment fund will be on the first level. At the same level of Spark Group, we will develop several different new companies that will invest in different kinds of activities, such as, for example, fixed yield assets. So introducing these kinds of activities will give, again, stability and comfort to the new investors. Why? With a fixed yield asset, we will have a stability on our long-term cash flows. An example that I can give you, it's the one that we have invested at the end of 2021, a bank agency of one of the largest private banks in Portugal. So at the same time we bought the property, we signed a long-term agreement with this private bank in Portugal, and we will receive a fixed return for 15 years. Another example that I can give you that we have been negotiating is a supermarket. Not buying the supermarket to manage the property or the business itself, only to have that kind of investment in our portfolio and to receive a fixed return during the long shot. Here in Portugal, we have, for example, 3 or 4 big retail companies that have a very good credit risk, very strong credit risk. So this is a type of business that will have or will give, again, stability and comfort to our cash flows. With the injection of the founders of Spark Group to the investment fund, we are talking about a 6 million euros buffer that we have into our balance sheet. Between August 2021 to December, we have onboarded 34 new investors. We are talking about 11 million euros until December. And right now we are accepting new clients, new investors to onboard with us. We have an hard cap of 100 million euros. We can't go up that level, but to be honest with you, we are going, conservatively speaking, we forecast to achieve until December 2023 something around 60 to 70 million euros. Also very important to highlight the fact that this investment fund can't have leverage on our balance sheet, meaning that we will invest always with our own equity, zero debt, to add risk to this kind of product. During the maintenance of a new investor with us, we will only ask for the subscription fee on top of the main investment. We are talking about 2% of the main investment. And during the maintenance of a new investor, we won't ask any more costs. No audit fee, no management fee, nothing at all, only the subscription fee. So the 3% preferential return won't have anything to deduct afterwards. Again, LP stands for the limited partners capital. They are defined as priority, and the non-resident investor, they will enjoy a 3% preferential return and won't have any tax here in Portugal. Our depository bank is Bison Bank, is an investment bank in Portugal, expert in this kind of products. We usually advise our new investors to open a bank account with them, but of course we can work with other banks, Portuguese banks, if the client is willing to. A strong commitment. So I think we have, I have already explained that. The founders of Spark Group, they have injected 6 million euros into this investment fund. We have a very good track record, as Roger showed to you. And our success is your success, and we will be delighted to onboard new investors in the next couple of weeks, months, until December 2023. Very important to explain that this investment fund has a 12 years lifetime, but this doesn't mean that each client needs to maintain their investment for that long. The minimum time required is 6 years, okay? So after 6 years, we will ask each client if he wants to exit or not, and we will give that option to the client. Our minimum investment to this investment fund is 200,000 euros. So imagine some clients, they are willing to diversify their portfolio into 2-3 investment funds in Portugal. They can do it. We are okay, completely okay with that. So please, I think we will share our contacts with you guys, and we are completely free to help you during the process. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Diaz. Well, just to wrap it up here, as you were saying, as you can see, we're a company with a very vast track record on real estate, which is our main source of business, but we are also able to offer 2 different options, right? So in essence, right, we offer real estate investments where the strategy is capital appreciation, and with the investment fund option, the strategy is capital preservation through diversification. Okay, basically putting different all your eggs in different baskets. So we're going to conclude the presentation about the company, our track record, our investment fund option now, and now we're going to focus on the Q&A. Okay, so we already have 3 that we're going to address separately. But of course, if you have more questions now or later on, we're totally available for that. So the first question from Mr. Chris Hafer is, how does your group interact, assuming it does at all, with other big Golden Visa groups such as American, La Vida, etc.? In doing my own research, there seems to be some level of overlap between various groups, but it's unclear who exactly does that. Excellent question, Mr. Chris Hafer. So as you can understand, there are different players in this game, right? So very important. Spark Capital is a developer. Okay, we are the main source of the investments. You can have brokers, you can have middlemen, There's an excellent group, for example, La Vida, right? So La Vida, they are an immigration agency, okay? So La Vida, they promote different residency by investment programs all over the world. So for example, if you get in touch with them, they will talk about excellent opportunities all over the world. For example, the Caribbeans are highly popular, but we like to believe that because of our track record, we're one of the best options that you can have in Portugal. For example, so as I was saying, right, say that you talk with La Vida and for some reason you decide to go with the Caribbeans. We like to think that if you are really interested in the Caribbeans, the La Vida, they will get you through in touch and they will put in touch with Caribbean Roger, right? But when it comes to us, to Portugal, we are one of the most important examples, right? So as I was saying, highly important to understand, Spark Capital is a developer that offers investments that are highly attracted to the Golden Visa because of the nature of our investments, right? So I hope I have answered that question. Wait, actually, all the questions are in line with Ms. Kraffer. So what is your overall fee structure? So let's put it in this way, right? So how do we do the business, right? Most important thing you understand is the first thing to happen, ladies and gentlemen, at least when we're talking about real estate acquisition investments, the first step is a reservation agreement. A reservation agreement, it's a very basic documentation where we state, in this case, Mr. Chris Hafer, right? So Mr. Chris Hafer, he wants to buy this property with this price, with all the things included. The property, the rehabilitation, and the rental management option if he wants to. In this agreement, what we also discuss is a payment plan. The standard payment plan proposal of Spark Capital is 90 days. So once we have settled the reservation agreement, because the purpose of the reservation agreement, ladies and gentlemen, is to take the property out of the market, because you only acquire the property when you sign the contracts, right? So on the reservation agreement, we say, we propose that you sign the reservation agreement. With the signature of the reservation agreement, we ask for a deposit of 10,000 euros. This deposit is returned to you when you finish up the property, paying the property, and can be paid from any account in the world. Why? Highly important, ladies and gentlemen. Your Golden Visa investment can only be done if your capital is foreign and is injected to Portugal to a Portuguese bank account. You cannot pay us for the property from your Hong Kong account, for example. The money has to come through a Portuguese bank account. So in the fee structure, the only things we charge, Spark Capital us, right? We charge for the property. And the property, which is an investment, right, comes with three things: the property, the construction, and the rental management option if you want to. Things that are not included: the furniture, because, for example, we have many clients who want to live in their properties. Okay, that's great. They get their own furniture. But if you want us to rent out your property, we propose that you acquire one of our furniture packages that is usually 10,000 euros, depending on the size of the property, right? Because, of course, we need good furniture to make the most profit out of it, right? So this is the only things we charge. Very important. We charge as of Spark Capital. We don't charge anything else. However, a very important player in this scenario are the lawyers, okay? You all will need local lawyers here in Portugal to do three things: property acquisition from us, because I cannot represent you in acquiring property from me. You will need a third party. The local lawyers are the ones who make your Golden Visa application. Basically, they make the case. All the documents that we give you, we give them to them and they apply for you. And if you are doing things remotely, which is the case of many investors, especially after COVID, the lawyers can also open you your Portuguese bank account remotely. So, of course, later on, ladies and gentlemen, if you are very interested in details of numbers, we're going to get in touch with you later on, either before or after this webinar. If you want specifically details about taxes, other numbers that you will have over the investment, we can make you a call sheet where we explain everything in detail. Okay, so moving on to the next question, also from Chris Hafer. My understanding is that you provide freeholder purchase opportunities. It is correct? Yes. Do you offer kind of facilitated sales service should we decide to invest at the end of the Golden Visa process? So do you offer any kind of facilitated sales service? So I understand this if we offer a sales service for you to sell your property. So because the property is yours and it's a freehold property, you are free to sell to anyone you want. Of course, you are able to get your own realtor if you want to, but we have been able to happily help many of our clients because at the end of the day, within the vast network of Spark Capital, one very common scenario that was happening was selling golden visa investments to other golden visa investors. I'm going to put you a very classical example, okay? Right now, for example, you have two options for investing in real estate outside the cities, right? So it is investing in real estate outside of the city, any kind of real estate for the minimum value of 400,000 euros. That is a golden visa. The most popular option, which is we're very popular for, is investing in real estate for rehabilitation outside the cities for the minimum value of 280. For example, a very normal example that's happening right now is we have many properties that are for rehabilitation outside the cities, and well, because of their sheer size or the other amenities, they are not priced at 280. They are perhaps priced at 350 or 380. One very clever move that many of our clients have been doing is they buy the property, which is a big property, right, for the value of 350 or 380 before their rehabilitation, and after the 5 years of their golden visa, right, or right after the construction even, they have a very important appreciation point, which is, of course, a property that is rehabilitated is way more valued than a property that is not rehabilitated, right? On top of that, you also have to, we also like to mention the appreciation factor and the fact that we're going to be renting it out, right? So think it like this, right? So you have a property in the market, it's brand new, but after 3 years, we have 5 stars on Airbnb for several years. Of course, the value of the property increases. So what's the strategy? Buying a property for a value before 400,000 euros, and when you want to sell it for whatever reason, you can easily sell it to another golden visa client who needs to invest at least 400,000 euros. That's one example, right? So another question from Mr. Ashish Patro. Can you share the returns of investment in 2021 that Insight has given to its investors? For this, I think we can later talk on, okay? Specifically questions about the investment funds. I will ask my colleague João to get in touch with you as well, so we can share this information. Moving on to Mr. Leonard. Is there any upside to the annual return for the investment fund option, or is it capped at 3%? It's 3% flat. Depends on every investment, right? For example, as you have seen in the Porto investment, it's 4%, right? But every investment, every project has a fixed percent return. Another question from Mr. Mark Thompson. I may have missed it, but could you explain how your real estate approach is the same as different versus Mercan? Excellent question. So as far as I understand, Mercan, the biggest investments options they have is hotel investments, okay? And we are vastly different from hotel investments because of a very important element. As I was saying, Spark Capital is very proud about the fact that what we offer is property acquisition investments. The property is yours. As far as I know, with Mercan, you invest only in hotel investments, right? So what happens is, first of all, you don't own anything. You own a percentage of the hotel. You cannot own a room hotel, right? So let's put a dire scenario, right? So say right now, for example, that you have invested your money in a hotel investment, the management is bad, or the company goes bankrupt. So does your investment, right? And in the same scenario, you don't own anything. You own a percentage of the hotel, right? So another example would be with us, right? So say that for some reason, I disappear, Spark Capital disappears, and there's no management to take off your property. That's okay. I mean, the property is still there. You can live there. You can hire another property manager to rent it out for you, or you could just sell it, right? Highly important, because one of the most important elements as well of property acquisition is that you are enjoying capital appreciation, okay? In hotel investments, there is no capital appreciation. And even in hotel investments with buyback option, you are not gonna get the same return that you're getting, for sure, because usually buyback options, in my experience, right, I don't know other ways, but usually end up receiving less money that you end up receiving. So another question from Mr. Leonard. what is the minimum investing quantum for the investment fund option for the golden visa? So as Diaz was saying, in our investment fund is 200,000 euros, but for a golden visa, you have to invest at least 500,000 euros. What does this mean? You have to prove to the Portuguese government that you have invested at least 500,000 euros in an investment fund that, of course, invests in Portugal. So I'm gonna keep it a little time. So if anyone has more questions, we are in great time. We're in great time. We have given 2 hours of our time for this, but as I said, the more time, the better, right? So I'm gonna wait up for a couple of minutes more if anybody has more questions. As I was saying, we are happy to later on talk more about our projects, our more details, and of course to see if anyone of you wants to participate in our investment opportunities. We have another question from an anonymous attendee. So is what have been the track record in completing project on time? What happens then? So I think here you're talking about our track records with completed projects. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna lie. So we have construction projects that many of them are in excellent time, and we're all happy about it, because you have to understand that as developers, we're the most happy in the project to finish quickly, because we provide you 3%, not only because we believe it's a nice and consistent return, but because we also make a profit out of it, right? So the ideal scenario is that your property is finished on time, we make money, we pay you 3%, and we enjoy a return on that, right? So in cases where this has not been the case, because this has not been the case many times, we also like to offer our clients financial security, because we are talking about 2 different things. One thing is we say the property is going to finish on this time, and then we say we are going to pay you a fixed return on a fixed date. This is to give you financial security, specifically for cases where construction can be delayed, right? So even if the construction is delayed, we still pay you your fixed yield if you have it, and your financial concerns are secured. Another question from, I saw that someone was raising your hand. I'm just gonna answer here the questions. Another question from Ashish Patron. If we choose the rental option, is there a minimum time period for the agreement with you? There is not a minimum period, but there is a maximum period, which is 5 years. So you can choose 1, 2, 3, up to 5 years, where we give you, but very important, there are 2 rental management options. So you can either choose the management option, where we give you a flat rate, and we pay you 3% of your total investment, and that's it. Or you can also enjoy a flexible return. A flexible return is, we make as much money as possible, like always, but instead of paying you a flat return, we pay you 70% of it, and then we charge a commission, okay? So it's variable, right? Because as I was saying, in a normal scenario, right, with our experience, say that in the entire year, in the low seasons, because I have to say Portugal doesn't really have low seasons nowadays because of the amazing weather, but we all understand that the summer is where we really make a profit, right? So let's say that on the winter we'll make 4 or 5%. We pay you your 3%, we keep 1%. But it is on the summer where we make 6, 7, 8%. Here is where you can enjoy way more of that, right? You can enjoy more of that. This is a possible option if you choose to enjoy the flexible option. A question from Leonard. For property investments, one concern I have is whether we are buying a property at a fair market value. I have explored other markets. I have observed that property developers in some of those markets have inflated property values to meet the government requires for investment immigration. This has resulted in investment overpaying for the investment properties. Is there a way to show us that this is not the case here for Portugal as well, the visa? That's an excellent question, right? Which is, clients usually ask, are we paying for premiums? And it depends, right? So I mean, it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand. With Spark Capital, you are not paying the prices that you see for the property. Highly important to mention. You are paying for the property, for the construction, and for the rental management. You're buying an entire service, okay? I really need you to understand, because it's true. You could go there on your own and go perhaps to Grândola and buy a property on your own, and I don't know, the property is worth perhaps 50,000 euros less than our properties. But you will have to get your own developer, your own construction, because one important thing, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, in the experience I have here, you can have all the money that you want, but at the end of the time, the most valuable thing here is time. What we offer you is not only a nice and consistent investment option that you can sell it when you feel like to, but we also offer a service where you don't have to worry about it. We take care of the property, and of course we also provide you a service, right? I mean, it's not always with me or with Diaz, but you will have a consultant assigned that will help you with the entire process. Again, I'm not a lawyer, for example. One of the things I can tell you about my job is that one of the most normal scenarios I have to do is I have to annoy people. I have to annoy a lot of people. I have to annoy lawyers. I have to annoy the government. I have to annoy tenants sometimes, because the idea is that you have someone here who takes care of overall your investment, right? Because what's the point of buying a property that is maybe 50,000 euros more cheaper, but you will have to pass through hell to manage it somehow, right? So it's very important that you understand that we want to say that our service reflects that, right? We have a question from Travis. To clarify from your earlier question, the minimum investment of 2,000 euro investment with Spark Capital doesn't qualify for Golden Visa, must be 500,000 euros to qualify. Also, how soon do you have to move to Portugal after qualifying the investment? So yes, maybe I will just rephrase this, right? So you have to get a Golden Visa through investment funds, you have to prove that you have invested at least 500,000 euros in investment funds. What does this mean? That it doesn't have to be the same investment funds. For example, here at Insight, the minimum investment is 200,000 euros. You can just invest 200,000 euros with us and enjoy the benefits of a nice investment with us, but that won't get you a Golden Visa. What you can do is either you put 500,000 euros with us, excellent, or you put 200,000 euros in one fund and the remaining 300,000 euros in other funds. Because the important thing is that you understand that you have to put at least 500,000 euros in investment funds that invest in Portugal. A question from Katrina Reyes. Where can we find information on the estimated completion date for the projects? Excellent question. So each project has a specific completion date, because you obviously understand that a project that we have launched is not going to have the same estimation completion project that we launched 1 month ago, right? Highly important and very important. I want to mention something in these elements. It is very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand that in our model of business, the most normal thing ever is that clients invest in full before the construction. And this has a logic. 3 things. First, price-wise, obviously, a property that it's in construction or before the construction, price-wise is cheaper. After the construction is done, obviously the price increases, right? Because you are also investing in time. Because the concept of an investment, right, is you put money now and you get the profits later on. One important element. Second, in real estate, little things matter. So you want the property that has the best view. You want the property that is the most near to the pool. You want the property with the best access to stairs, etc., etc. How you can get it? Of course, you can get it by buying in before. So there is always the option for you to choose whatever you feel is the most virtuous property regarding the overall project. And thirdly, and highly important, because we already mentioned that we're a company highly oriented to the profile of the international investor, in this case, Golden Visa, clients understand that there is a time period that they're wasting time for the Golden Visa. Because as I was saying, what you need from us to start your Golden Visa? You need your property acquisition contract, your construction contract, and payment proofs. These are all legal documents that you have to present to the Portuguese government. The Portuguese government just needs to know that you are legally complying with this. So the moment you have these documents, you can start your Golden Visa. So for example, as I was saying, we're talking about the payment plan. You can start your Golden Visa process in 90 days, for example, right? So you pay up for the property, we give you your contracts, you have everything that you need for your Golden Visa, right? Because of course, it's up to you, right? You can wait if you want 1 year or 2 years, X amount of time. But if you do that, you are indeed going to miss opportunities, like a lot of people have done. Because as I was saying, the best opportunities I have seen so far in my career have been 2017, 2019, 2020 to 2021 was a big leap because a lot of people wanted to invest in Lisbon and they cannot do it anymore, right? I say the same thing for Alcácer do Sal too, right? People were fighting all over Alcácer do Sal too when the law changed from for 2020 to 2021, because everybody understood that projects like Alcácer do Sal were going to be the future of the Golden Visa investments, right? And a question from John Fitzpatrick. Do immediate family members, wife and children also follow the same track for qualifying permanent resident for 5 years? That is correct. So if you are a main investor of Golden Visa, right, you are allowed to put your immediate family as a dependent. So for example, Mr. John Fitzpatrick, he gets a Golden Visa, he is the main investor. He can put as a dependent his children, his wife, and highly important, a nice tip for you guys, you can also put your parents if you prove that they are retired, that they're over 60, and that you prove, again, through documentation, that they are financially dependent on you. This way you can have a Golden Visa for the entire family, okay? And of course, this is something I know internally, but I always encourage you to know more about this and double check this with lawyers that, again, if it's not Nomad Capital, it is us. We can recommend you excellent lawyers who can answer you these questions. There was a gentleman who was raising his hands. I haven't given him the chance. I don't know if he still wants to talk. Someone raised his hand, but I forgot the name. Penalties. Okay. No one raised their hand. I found someone raised their hand. Well, that's okay. I mean, we still have time if people want to have more questions. I like that you have questions because, as you can see, I love talking. So the more questions you have for me, the better. Okay, more questions. John Fitzpatrick, does Portugal permanent residency also allow you to work across Europe or only Portugal? Excellent question. Permanent residency does. So the moment you have permanent residence, you are an European citizen. You can live and work in Germany if you want to. With your Golden Visa, which is a temporal residency, you can move freely to the European Union and stay in every country within 90 days, but you cannot live and work there. Oh, I have more questions. Good. Another question from Ashish Patron. The return of 3% is from rental management, which starts from the day of completion of the project, not from signing the agreements. So as I was saying, there are two different things, right? The guaranteed return, in this case of 3%, is on a fixed date that depends on each project, okay? Ideally, we want our estimated completion project to coincide with this. So for example, I'm going to put you an example. Right now, we say that Grandula 2 is going to finish in 2026, for example, right? So the moment that Mr. Ashish Patro invests with us and we sign the contract, we say, we are going to pay the yield starting 2026, which is where we believe the construction is going to start. So if it does, we're all happy. If it doesn't, we still abide by our compromise and we still pay the 3% starting 2026, right? Another question, Nelson Virgil. Will a summary transcript be sent to us after this meeting ends? Thanks. I will talk more that with Nomad Gate. Okay. I don't have a summary transcript. A question from Janet Campbell. You've referenced free travel within the European Union within 90 days. Is that within the 90 days of receipt of the Golden Visa and for an unlimited period of time? So the moment you get your Golden Visa, right, you are allowed to reside in Portugal as much as you want, and you can you can be in the European Union outside of Portugal within 90 days, right? Then again, ladies and gentlemen, for more specific questions, this is as far as I understand, but highly important. I know things based on my experience. I'm not an immigration lawyer. So if you want the most accurate questions about this, please feel free to reach out to an immigration lawyer that we can recommend for these particular questions. A question from Sunil. Lima Porto development is classified as commercial property? Yes. Can I live there legally without causing any issues to my Golden Visa application? As far as I can understand, yes, because it's still an apartment that has a commercial property. If you decide to put us as your rental management, we won't make a fuss about it. I will say the answer is yes. But to better be sure, again, double checking with lawyers. But as far as I know, the answer is yes. Question from an anonymous person. Is it possible that you may cancel a project before start of completion? What happens to the golden visa process? I mean, that is not going to happen. I mean, we are highly confident in all our projects. Again, as I was saying, not only we want to provide good financial investments and golden visa dreams, as I call it, to our investors, but we also want to make excellent profits, right? So we're not going to cancel a project for the sake, because we'll be losing a lot of money for ours. And yes, and very important, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, highly important in all our contacts, because we know that for many of our investors, golden visa is highly important. In all our contracts, we mentioned that if because of our project, of the investment we do with you, you don't get your golden visa, this is the only scenario where we offer you a refund. Okay, what does this mean? So say that you know, I sell you this property in Grândola 2, and you go to the CEF, the Department of Border and Immigration in Portugal, and they say, you know, the property of Grândola 2 at the end of the day is not worth for golden visa. If you can prove this, we return your money. If you're an international criminal and you didn't get your golden visa because of that, nothing we can do about that. Another question from Leonard. Given the new, from start 2022, investment locations, limitations, and more leaves on coastal areas, regarding the Portuguese golden visa, does SPACs have a dedicated portfolio of properties for the non-restricted regions of Portugal? I mean, we try to expand as much as we can, right? I mean, as you can see, if you see the map of Portugal, our projects are nearby Lisbon. So focus Lisbon, we're expanding a lot outside Lisbon, Alentejo. I mean, we're talking about distances of 50, 80, 90 kilometers, right? We don't know how far we're gonna go. We hope to go very, very high, but we plan to expand more and more into Portugal. Of course, we want to make profitable projects, because as I was saying, don't get us wrong, we still have a lot of real estate options that you can invest as a normal real estate investor. We have excellent real estate opportunities in Lisbon, but of course, those are not oriented to golden visa investors. For golden visa investors, yes, we're thinking mostly right now about Alentejo. Another example from Sunil. Can you give us how many golden visa investors invest in your development so far? We can give you some approximate figures, but highly important, we always respect client data protection. We cannot give you any kind of information about our investors, but we are happy to provide you any kind of figures. I don't know, I can give you a rough estimation. I have at least 200 golden visa clients in 3 years. I will have to give any kind of thought about that, but it's just a rough estimation, right? A question from Mark Thompson. Do you handle the legal and administrative process of applying for the golden visa for your real estate investors? If so, what will the cost for that? Mark, as I was saying before, we are the developers. We do everything regarding the investments. For the legal and administrative process of applying the golden visa, you will need local Portuguese lawyers. As I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm happy to redirect you to excellent legal consulting firms that will give you that. And based on my experience, it's usually the legal fees they charge is around 6,000 euros. Again, if anyone here is interested, we have already been in touch with some of you when you were registered for this. We can send you a cost sheet where we talk investment, taxes, returns, and part of the numbers we talk about are the legal fees of the lawyers. It's an estimation, right? Because usually most legal consultants charge 6,000 euros for the golden visa fees. A question from Leonard. Does a project like Alcácer do Sal II qualify under the new golden visa rules? Yes, because we're talking about a project of real estate rehabilitation in the low population density area. It's a project with 60 apartments sold out, right? It's very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important that you understand that anything can happen here. For example, when I was explaining how do we do the business, the first thing that you do is you reserve a property through a reservation agreement. This means that you're reserving the property, you're not buying the property. I mean, I'm saying this because there could be an example that unfortunately has happened of clients who, you know, they sign the reservation agreement, they pay 10,000 euros, and we expect within 30 days that they pay and sign the contracts. Technically speaking, they could forfeit on this. They lose the deposit, of course, but the property goes back to the market. So as far as we know, Alcácer do Sal II, which qualifies for the new golden visa, is sold out unless something happens, right? Mm. Just waiting for a couple of minutes to see if there are more questions. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna write some emails in the meantime. So feel free to take your time. At least I have 20 more minutes. Uh, 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 um. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that we are getting in touch with you separately to present our projects, and we are able to and free to discuss anything that you want in detail. Because as I was saying, it's very important that you understand that Golden Visa investments, specifically me, who is more into the real estate option, projects that are exactly 280K, they're running away quite quickly because everybody wants the best option with the best return, with the best view, with the best things, right? So these options are limited. A question from Dave: Is the backlog with the immigration authorities being clear? How can we be sure that all the documents once we send them to the lawyers? Excellent question, Dave. This has been a nightmare. This has been awful because of COVID, the immigration office authorities were closed. So everybody was on hold. It was starting April that this started to get back in, but happily everybody's doing their biometrics and their golden visa procedures normally. So think it like this: applications have resumed normally in the last couple of months. So right now the backlog is reducing, right? So yes, this is happening. Once very important, and this is a good question as well. So you're saying, how can you be sure that things are ordered underway? Once you receive an email saying your candidacy for residency by investment in Portugal has been submitted, this is when you enter golden visa. It's later on I can share with you a screenshot of it. It's an email saying your candidacy has been submitted. And again, unless you're an international criminal, there's no way your golden visa investment is denied. A question from Sunil: How can I find more details of Lima development, like how much it is to cost a studio, one-bedroom apartment cost, other fees involved in acquiring the property? Excellent question, Sunil. Please get in touch with us. We will lead our contacts here. You can also ask Nomad Gay for them. Because we already have your information, we can send you this. And with this, please feel free to ask specific questions about the Lima project. We can send you the floor plans, we can send you the prices, the fees, and we can send you, again, a cost sheet where we explain everything in detail. Another question from Leonard: You can send me other project information prior to the webinar. Will you be spending time? It depends, Leonard, it depends. As you can see, we have a lot of projects. I personally only have 10 more minutes. So what I would suggest is that you get in touch with me directly, and I can, spend as much time as you want talking about projects. But for now, I would like to answer some questions. Adam, a question from Adam: Please comment on buyback options. As I was saying, Adam, I believe I have sent you an email about this. Spark Capital does not do buyback investment options because we believe firmly on property acquisition. And this is our vision, right? I mean, there's any kind of investments everywhere. I don't know how the entire real estate market knows, but in my opinion, buyback options are a scam. Why? Because again, you are not owning really anything. You own a percentage of a building or percentage of a venture. You won't get the money that you initially portray, because usually buyback options after taxes, and they sell you back your property in an inferior price, and you don't get property appreciation. And as I was saying, I mean, the core element about our resistance to buyback options is because we believe in property acquisition and client independence. Because it's like this, right? I mean, say for some reason Spark Capital goes under, you still have a property under your name that you can sell and rent out however you see fit. The liquidity of the property, it exists. Okay, we have two more questions. Question from Adam. How much is the total time for Golden Visa? Is it 8 years? Excellent question. So how does it work with the timeline, right? First step, getting a reservation agreement, reserving the property that you want. That's one step. Again, in the reservation agreement, we propose that you pay for the entire of the property in 90 days. So in 90 days, you have your contracts and the payment proofs. You have everything that you need to meet your Golden Visa. This is one part. You will also need your lawyers that we hope that you also have in tandem with us. You will need to do what they call the homework. The homework is getting your personal documentation, criminal records, and this can be tricky because I mean, I know that, for example, for American clients, they have to get a documentation from the FBI that sometimes can take time. We have clients that have done this homework in 1 month, and we have clients who are taking years. So in a normal scenario, say that you have your money here in Portugal, you pay for the property, and in 1 month you have the contracts and you paid everything. Once you do that and your lawyers submit your candidacy, which you hope it's also within the month, once your candidacy is submitted, in a period between 6 to 8 months, which is we expect Portuguese bureaucracy to take, you will have your biometric appointments. When you come here to Portugal, okay, and you do your biometrics. Once you do your biometrics, it depends again on the bureaucracy, but let's say 6 months, you will have your first resident card. This is when the 5 years start. So let's say that in a normal scenario, you finish your investments. Worst case scenario, in 1 year, you have your first resident card, you have your 5 years of Golden Visa. You end your 5 years, you are able to apply for the permanent residency, but your Golden Visa has ended in 5 years. So let's say that it's at least 6 years for the Golden Visa process, because the Golden Visa is a temporary residence permit. Question from Dave. What is the cost per square meter for the property? Is it this market related? What are the costs of building Portugal for this standard property? Again, it depends on the project we're talking about. We also want everyone to consider that our projects, the price that is there does not reflect the price of the property, because we're adding multiple services. Property, of course, our own services of consulting and managing, construction, rental management. You are not paying for the property. You're paying for an entire package with a service. Again, if you have specific questions about each project, please feel free to reach out and we can talk that in more detail. Another question from an anonymous attendee. Sorry, I missed this. Did you say that you can make recommendations about lawyers who can represent us with the acquisition of the Golden Visa process? Yes. For anyone who is interested in knowing about the legal part of the Golden Visa, property acquisition, the documents that you need, if you have any kind of particular situation, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to make excellent recommendations to excellent lawyers who have worked with us, right? Of course, please understand that we recommend lawyers that we know that are good on property acquisition and immigration law, right? Because you don't need a Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad. You need an immigration lawyer. Another comment from Leonard. Are properties in Portugal typically freehold, title in perpetuity? In many countries, many properties are 50, 60. That's an excellent question, because like in China, right, you can never own property. But yes, in Portugal, properties are typically freehold. You own the property. You have a title deed where you're owner of the property itself. The property is yours. There's no leasehold for 50, 60, 90 years. This also works on how do you call it when you inheritance? So the property is also going to be passed to your family. Another question from an anonymous attendee. I understand that a percentage of the rental income will go to you as fee for service. Once again, we do not have any other services. Spark Capital, as the developers, we will only charge you the prices that you see for the investments. Say, for example, our newest project, Grandola 2, we have excellent options, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments that have that are priced 280 to 90K. We only charge you that. Again, we will also charge the furniture, because if you want to rent it out with us, you will have to pay the furniture. And other charges that is not related with us is the lawyers and the taxes. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please understand, if you want to get consistent and very specific numbers, talk to us. Let's talk one specific project in mind, and we will give you a cost sheet with all the numbers that you need to know. Okay, I'm going to close off this webinar in a couple of minutes. So if someone else have other questions. So yes, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I hope I have helped. Again, thank you for your attention. Please, I think we're going to reach out to most of you guys because Nomad has access, give us access to your email so we can have more deep conversations with you if you want. Please feel free to get in touch with us and we will be happy to help you in this venture that you have with us. So thank you so much for your time. An excellent, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Nomad Gates. And good day to everyone. Okay, thank you so much for your time. All right. Yes.